First comes twilight, then comes the gloam, a subtle but deeper darkness. Then comes full night. Sleep envelops your senses. All is black, all is silent. If you look hard enough, you may see the truth. Your vision is shrouded, but it is not a complete umbra. It is a dark and dormant crimson, betraying the fact that your eyelids possess their own, almost imperceptible luminosity. Your thoughts are incoherent now. They're undergoing their own twilight, passing from conscious to subconscious. It is in this interstice that the Sharmat dwells. He senses you and beckons you. That distant red flares up now, pulsating. The walls of your mind, alive with flashing synapses and swelling sanguine arteries.
Come to me, dreamer.
The voice reverberates.
Friend or foe, I welcome you.
The antechamber of your open mind becomes a great cavern, the core of a volcano. Then comes the rhythm, a drum. Every convulsion sets Tamriel trembling. The ground beneath your feet vibrates with the immortal will of a dead god. And that voice you thought you dreamt, those portentous words, falling in time between each pounding palpitation. The doom drum provides the bass, the devil of Dagoth provides the baritone, and your exasperated exclamations kindled by revelation, that will be the tenor. In your dream you hear the cosmic composition of Dagoth Ur's divine devising. The Sharmat is undeniable, he's inexorable, and you, dear dreamer, will be his servant. Sorry, wrong program. I thought I'd lost you for a second. I'm afraid that wasn't your imagination. No, that was something far more sinister. It seems you were visited by none other than Dagoth Ur. I don't know how this is possible, for the Sharmat was defeated over 200 years ago, but I've been studying Dwemer tonal magics. I managed to get my hands on a tonal attenuator, so that my ears and thought organs would be protected from the harmonic feedback fluctuations of this magic. And I managed to intercept Ur's posthumous broadcast, which is why you are here in one piece. Without my intervention, there may have been flutes sprouting from your face by now. Or worse, your head might have burst from enlightenment. My name is Drew. I'm a daedrologist mostly, but as you can see from my humble tower, I have spent some time among the Telvanni. If you are hearing the music of the lost house in your dreams, then perhaps Vorin Dagoth's soul is stirring once more. It may be possible to stop him, but first you must learn his methods, and his motives. Only then may we hope to win. It was long ago theorized that Dagoth Ur's propaganda emanated from Red Mountain, infiltrating the minds of susceptible subjects. It seems you have been chosen, but perhaps, with my help, you may just be able to resist. I'll tell you everything I know, but you must stay awake. The story begins before the Dunmer were cursed. Before that inferno of betrayal and sacrilege that blazed within Red Mountain. Before their skin turned to ash along with their honour. The golden-hued Chimer followed Prophet Veloth to the promised land of Resdain, or Morrowind as you might know it. And when they arrived, the four corners of the troubled house tested them relentlessly. Dagon tested them with inhospitable terrain. Sheogorath tested their mental fortitude. And Malakath tested their physical endurance. But no plight was greater than that presented by the other races inhabiting the region. Foremost among these rivals were the Nords and the Dwarves. But when the Nords conquered great swaths of Resdain, the bitter elven rivals were forced to unite. So began the first council between the Chimer and the Dwemer, and the pesky Northmen were finally thwarted and expelled from the land. Lord Indoril Nerevar of the Chimer and Dumac Dwarf King of the Dwemer were fast friends, and this boded well for maintaining peace in Resdain. But there was no denying the clear spiritual differences between the races. The Chimer were generally a pious group, owing much of their unique cultural practices, and much of their success in settling Resdain to the good Daedra, Boethia, Mephala and Azura. The Dwemer on the other hand, they acknowledged the gods, but would not kneel before them. They instead strove to advance their ingenious technological innovations, which in their eyes rivaled the divine power of the gods. It was even said that they'd devised a way to reverse engineer mortality. So when rumours began to resonate from the depths that the dwarves had found a holy relic of great significance within the volcano, Trouble seemed as inevitable as an ash storm on Vardenfell. But how did these rumours circulate? The dwarves closely guarded their secrets, and it's even said that Chief Tonal Architect Cagrenac and the High Priest kept this discovery even from the king. The culprit, of course, was the very same Chimer who haunts your dreams, Vorin of House Dagoth. Vorin was a friend and advisor to both Indoril Nerevar and Dumac Dwarf King, which, as you can imagine, somewhat compromised his trustworthiness. The two races were at peace, but the loyalty of Dagoth could not be assured by either party. Somehow, Vorin Dagoth discovered what Cagrenac had found, and somehow he knew the Chief Tonal Architect's grand designs for the heart. Was he keeping spies, or was it an altogether different force at play? This isn't something I can find in the histories, but I believe House Dagoth might have been vaguely aware of the heart's existence even before the Dwemer were. The seat of House Dagoth was at Kogaroon in the Ashlands. Not only were they in close proximity to Red Mountain, but their house has an affinity for sound and music. Bells and chimes are a crucial element of their rituals. It's hard to say for sure whether these instruments have always been a part of their culture, or whether they came after Dagoth Ur's return. But imagine if the chimes and bells were always customary among the Sixth House. It would have been a strangely divine phenomenon. Whenever the people of Kogaroon gathered around the chimes, they would have seen them quiver softly, clinking and humming in sync with the dead god's living pulse. Surely it would have seemed like a miracle to them, as if they were somehow attuned to Nirn itself. What if Vorin Dagoth followed these subtle subterranean vibrations all the way to the home of his friends, the deep elves in the city of the strong shield? Perhaps that would lead Vorin to uncover Cagrenac's well-kept secret. You dozed but for a moment. Now you're kneeling at the pew. Around you, ash zombies genuflect in the aisle. Their hollow heads face the altar, where an ascended sleeper delivers his unspoken sermon. His face trunks harmonise with the ringing chimes, like cathedral organs, only strangely nasal. Your eyes fall out of focus, all becomes a blur, and then an eyelid peels open at the centre of your forehead, and you see the Sharmat approaching the mountain. In his hands are two dowsing rods, one of ebony, one of brass. Hey, bear with me, can you hear me? I said not to fall asleep. As I was saying, Dagoth Ur revealed Cagrenac's scheme to Nerevar, and when the Chimer discovered that their allies intended to profane the sanctity of the gods, they could not stand idly by. Not only did the Tonal Architects plan to channel the power of Lorkhan, but they were forging a god of their own creation. It was the very height of blasphemy. By attempting to rival the gods, they were casting doubt on their undeniable preeminence. Nerevar sought both divine and diplomatic counsel. He spoke to his old friend and king of the dwarves Dumac, who assured Nerevar that he had no knowledge of Cagrenac's plans. Dumac said the Dwemer were innocent of any wrongdoing. So, Nerevar made a pilgrimage to the sacred temple of Azura, and Azura confirmed his fears, imploring him to prevent the creation of the brass god at all costs. Affronted by what Nerevar perceived as a lie from Dumac, he came to the Dwarf King's halls arrayed in arms and armour, his generals Vivek, Sophasil and Almalexia in tow, and demanded that the Dwemer cease their sacrilegious deeds. Being a hospitable host, Dumac was offended by his old friend's dishonour, and refused all demands. And so, the first council was in tatters, and much destruction would follow, all thanks to Dagoth Ur's scandalous discovery. There is even cause to believe that Vorin Dagoth wanted this conflict to occur, for according to the 5 songs of High King Wulfharth, he even visited the Nords, historic enemy to both the Chimer and Dwemer, to inform them that Shor's heart had been discovered in Vardenfell. In walked the Devil of Dagoth, who swore he came in peace. Moreover, he told the Nords a wondrous thing. He knew where the heart of Shor was. Long ago, the chief of the gods had been killed by elven giants, and they ripped out Shor's heart and used it as a standard to strike fear into the Nords. The Nords asked the Devil of Dagoth why he might betray his country Merso, and he said that the devils have betrayed each other since the beginning of time, and this was so, and so the Nords believed him. War erupted between Chimer, Dwemer and Nord, and it all coalesced in the Heart Chamber. There are many contradictory accounts of what took place here. Lorkhan's divine heart presided over all the chaos that followed, if only it could speak its truth. Within the chamber, Nerevar slew his old friend Dumac, but was grievously wounded in the process. Cagrenac was left defenceless, but for his tools of attunement, And so, without the proper preparations, he turned them on the heart, striking it with all his might. Instantaneously, the Battle of Red Mountain came to a sudden end, as every member of the Dwemer race vanished, or turned to dust, or had their souls trapped. Dagoth Ur took up the tools, and beseeched Nerevar to cast them into the fire, destroy them, but Nerevar wished to seek the counsel of his Triune, his queen and trusted generals. Vorin Dagoth was left alone in the heart chamber to guard the tools, a purpose he would hold for many lifetimes or dreamtimes thereafter. The advice Nerevar's generals gave him varies depending on the source. According to Vivek, they proposed that we should preserve these tools in trust for the welfare of the Chimer people. And who knows, perhaps the Dwemer are not gone forever, but merely transported to some distant realm, from which they may someday return to threaten our security once again. Therefore, we need to keep these tools, to study them and their principles, so that we may be safe in future generations. The temple records, however, suggest the tribunal decided that the Chimer should learn how to use this power so that Nerevar might claim Resdayn and the world for their people. Nerevar did as he always did in times of strife and indecision. He invoked Azura. The Chimer swore a solemn oath to the goddess of dawn and dusk that they would not use the tools in the profane manner that the Dwemer had intended. According to Vivek, he along with Ayem and Set agreed to these terms. But the temple contradicts him, saying the tribunal had become as greedy as Kagrenac upon hearing of the power of the heart, and they coveted it. They made ritual as if to summon Azura as Nerevar wanted, but Almalexia used poisoned candles, and Sophasil used poisoned robes, and Vivek used poisoned invocations. Nerevar was murdered. Vivek would ultimately take responsibility for this crime in his 36th sermon, the first letter of each sentence spelling out the phrase, foul murder. So, when Vivek says that Dagoth Ur was the traitor, we must question his credibility. The temple text goes on to say, and then the tribunal went into Red Mountain and met with Dagoth Ur. Dagoth Ur saw what had been done, for his skin had changed as well, and he tried to avenge the death of Nerevar, but to no avail. He was driven off and fought dead. The tribunal found the tools he had been guarding, and through study of Kagrenac's methods, turned themselves into gods. There is no doubt that Vorin Dagoth was a schemer with his own hidden agenda, but it seems he had every right to confront the tribunal when they came to usurp the heart and purloin the tools of Kagrenac. Almalexia, Sophasil and Vivek became demigods, and were cursed by Azura for their egregious sin. She said, "What you have done here today is foul beyond measure, and you will grow to regret it. For the lives of gods are not what mortals think, and matters that weigh only years to mortals weigh on gods forever." And so that they might know forever their wicked deeds, Azura changed the Chimer into Dunmer, and their skin turned ashen, and their eyes into fire. Let this mark remind you of your true selves who, like ghouls, fed on the nobility, heroism and trust of their king. Sophasil's rebuttal was a brazen combination of conviction and insolence. The old gods are cruel and arbitrary, and distant from the hopes and fears of Mer. Your age is past. We are the new gods, born of the flesh, and wise and caring of the needs of our people. Spare us your frets and chiding in constant spirit. We are bold and fresh, and will not fear you. For many centuries to come, Set's words rang true, and the demigods brought a golden age to Morrowind. But no amount of provincial prosperity would absolve them of their crimes. Foul murder was one thing, but selfishly seizing divinity was the pinnacle of profanity. It would be some time before Nerevar's return, but in the meantime, another force emerged to thwart the tribunal. In the words of Vivek, beneath Red Mountain, Dagoth Ur had survived. And even as the light of our bold new world shined ever more brightly, beneath Red Mountain, the darkness gathered, a darkness that was close kin to the bright light that Sophasil coaxed from the heart of Lorkhan with the tools of Kagrenac. As the darkness grew, we fought it, and crafted walls to confine it. But we never could destroy it, for the source of the darkness was the same source as the source of our own divine inspiration. This darkness was Dagoth Ur. The devil's words fill your mind as you are enraptured by slumbering visions transmitted from the void directly to your thought organ. What Vivek calls darkness, you realize is anything but. Dagoth Ur is the enemy of the tribunal, but he is not your enemy. He has grand designs for this world, and soon, sleeping servant, you will open that dormant eye between your temples, and you will see. Time is short. You will soon fall into a deep dreaming sleep, and I won't be able to save you. You must leave my tower and ascend Red Mountain. It is not far. I can take you to the threshold, but I will not take you to the summit. We must make haste. I'll tell you all I know of Dagoth Ur's plans as we make the pilgrimage. When Vorin Dagoth returned as Dagoth Ur and severed the tribunal's ties to the heart of Lorkhan, he had changed significantly. Vivek says, Dagoth Ur is the former Lord High Counselor of House Dagoth. He was of Lord Nerevar's generation, older than we, and a mighty sorcerer and enchanted in life. In his sustained shadow immortality, he appears to be a highly intelligent, severely deluded immortal monster with unparalleled supernatural abilities. He appears, by turns, lucid and deranged, compassionate and bestial, profoundly wise and profoundly disordered. In short, he is a mad god. The False Dreamer is Vivek's name for the returned leader of House Dagoth. He spreads his influence and the blight disease in the form of ash storms across the realm. Vivek continues. He's able to send his mind into the dreams of susceptible victims across vast distances. The victims are either swayed by his compulsions or driven mad. He also seems nearly invulnerable to physical and magical harm. His flesh and the flesh of his followers evolves towards a mutable magical form. Dagoth Ur and the highest ranks can control the distorted manifestations of their flesh. Lower ranks lose control of their bodies and become mindless corporous monsters. But why does he do this? Why spread disease across Morrowind when it is only the Tribunal who deserve his ire? Why plague the mortal populace when his grudge is levied against beings too powerful to succumb to his attacks? House Dagoth and House Dwemer have always had an intimate relationship, and Vorin Dagoth was no doubt aware of these designs. Regardless of how they would achieve it, he knew they were obsessed with their anti-creations, their animunculi that defied the exclusivity of the gods as creators. He knew that the dwarves wished to transcend the mortal boundaries of the Mundus by reverse engineering the process that had turned the Aedra into the limitful Earthbones. But Vorin Dagoth's proximity to the heart had given him a form of immortality. He had not died, he had gone to sleep. He had achieved a form of enlightenment akin to Kim, but unlike transcendence in the traditional sense, which relies on the individual letting go of their attachment to the material world, Dagoth Ur's enlightenment was grounded in the mortal realm. He dwelt within Red Mountain for centuries, and his mind began to beat in time with Lorkhan's metronome. To become a dreamer like the Godhead, to become an Amaranth, one must begin their own dream. But Dagoth Ur is dreaming within Lorkhan's realm, and his ambitions lie within this world, not beyond it. This is why Vivek calls him the False Dreamer, and this is why Dagoth Ur's enlightening broadcast is causing so much destruction. Dagoth Ur wishes to spread his revelations to all other mortals, and in a way he does believe that he is helping the world by spreading his blight. The Dunmer wise woman, Nabani Mesa, says, "These dreams are the black lies of the Sharmat Dagoth Ur. Dagoth Ur himself is mad. He is dead, but he dreams he lives. He hears laughter and love, but he makes monsters and ghouls." He says it is not a blight, yet it is a curse of the mind and the flesh, and all those afflicted by it are transmogrified into hideous abominations. Dagoth Ur is mad. His presence is a sickness, an infection within Tamriel's chest. But there is some method to his madness. The 4,000-year-old wizard Daive Fear has something to say on Dagoth Ur's blight, or the divine disease as he calls it. The magical principles of corporous disease are elusive and miraculous, far more subtle and powerful than any conventional sorcery or enchantment. I'm persuaded that it is in some manner the curse or blessing of a god, perhaps both a curse and a blessing. The victim, of course, cannot appreciate the marvellous nature of corpus. It saps the mind and destroys the body. But to a wizard, it is a profound and glorious mystery, a riddle worth a long lifetime of study. The divine disease. Dagoth Ur offers a horrific disease that destroys the body and the brain, but it also gives the victim immortality, or you could call it undeath. Dagoth Ur was onto something big. His slumber within Red Mountain, under the influence of the Doom Drum, showed him the secrets of the universe. He is not the first to discover the true nature of the Orbis, but those who preceded him either saw it as a personal journey like Vivek, or transcended the mortal realm entirely, possibly to begin their own dream. Dagoth Ur, on the other hand, is transmitting these secrets into the subconscious minds of the populace. He is creating immortal servants. We are almost there. You must decide what to do, for I cannot help you anymore. All I can do now is speculate. You're exhausted, and the Sharmat has embedded himself within your mind. I cannot even tell if you are lucid or if you're sleepwalking. Behold him by his words.
I am the Sharmat. I am older than music. What I bring is light. What I bring is a star. What I bring is an ancient sea. When you sleep, you see me, dancing at the call. It is not a blight. It is my house.
The song resonates within you as you ascend the mountain, to the lip of the volcano. You reach the precipice on aching limbs. Above you, the sky is choked with soot and ash, painted crimson by the echoes of the unmourned house's sorcery. Below you is a steep drop. Layers of basalt and obsidian form a tunnel down into the magmatic inferno that burns with the incandescence of an alien sun seen through many layers of atmosphere. You feel it beckon you. As you gaze into the endless earthen shaft, you see the magma undulate to the rhythm of the song you've been hearing in your dreams. The flows dance to it, and the beating of the doom drum provides the meter. You feel the urge to dance along, and so you do. And that's when the visions hit you like a wall of storms. You see him dancing at the call. He is dead, but you dream he lives. You see his perfect world, Resdain liberated, united under the newborn god Lorkhan. You edge closer to the igneous lip of the volcano. You raise your head and listen. You hear the drum. You hear the chimes and the bells. And like a mighty bellhammer, illumination strikes you, a beatific crescendo. Your third eye opens to witness the calamitous collision. Your head bursts with enlightenment. A gaping star wound is all that remains of your upper skull. Yet you smile as the secrets of the universe fill your cranial crater. Your dance is done. With a bow, you plummet into the radiant abyss.